This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Good evening and welcome to Left, Right and Centre on what has been a very busy news day. I'm Nidhi Razdan, and on the programme tonight, the shocking assault on senior lawyer Prashant Bhushan in his chambers in the Supreme Court because of remarks that he made on Kashmir. Are we becoming an increasingly intolerant society? Also, as the centre decides to make the Lokpal a constitutional body as proposed by Rahul Gandhi, Team Anna says it's a tactic to delay the Lokpal bill and fool people. But is it actually the centre's trump card? We'll have all that and more in the next hour. First, the headlines tonight. Well, our top story tonight is the absolutely appalling assault on senior lawyer and activist Prashant Bhushan. He was beaten up in his own office in the Supreme Court today by two men. Mr. Bhushan was in fact speaking to a TV news channel when the two men barged into his office and started hitting him. These pictures are actually very disturbing. Mr. Bhushan was pulled out of his chair, he was slapped, he was dragged, he was repeatedly punched and kicked. Then his staff stepped in. They tried to overpower the attackers. Others who were there also tried to do the same. Two of the attackers managed to escape, but one of them was caught, this man that you see here, and was then handed over to the police. Mr. Bhushan was later taken to hospital for a checkup. He's said to have had some minor injuries. He said later to reporters that it appeared he was targeted for saying that there should be a referendum in Jammu and Kashmir. And in fact, the television channel that got these visuals today has issued a statement saying that the journalist who was interviewing Mr. Prashant Bhushan at the time that this attack happened was also roughed up by these men, and that the camera person kept filming because the focus was on getting evidence of this brutality on camera. Well, in fact, Mr. Prashant Bhushan is supposed to be one of our guests tonight on Left, Right and Centre. We had asked him to come today to speak on the issue of whether the Lokpal should be a constitutional authority and whether the Team Anna welcome that. We're hoping that he can still join us. He is expected to make a statement at his residence shortly on the attack that took place today. But this attack today really has been absolutely appalling across the board, and it's got condemnation from all political parties. Shazia Ilmi, a member of Team Anna who's worked closely with Prashant Bhushan, she's here with us today. Shazia, first of all, we've been trying to reach him ever since this happened. Is he all right? Do you know how he is?
Yeah, he's well, and he will be issuing a statement soon. I think it's reprehensible the way this has been carried out. This is to say that we are so intolerant that anybody with an independent point of view or a point of view that you do not agree with will be treated badly, and they will gloat over it. You'll go out there and say, yeah, we okay. This reminds me of Bal Thackeray.
He's speaking now, actually, Shazia. Let's just listen to what Prashant Bhushan is saying.
एक टीम वहाँ मुझे इंटरव्यू करने के लिए बैठी हुई थी चेंबर में. वो इंटरव्यू शुरू करने ही वाले थे, इतने में ये तीन लड़के, जिसमें से एक सरदार था, एक ने अपना नाम कुछ बाद में इंद्रवीर बताया, और ये लोग एकदम से आए और सिर्फ बिना कुछ कहे मारने पीटने लगे मुझे, घूसे से, मुक्के से, लात से, और कुछ कश्मीर के बारे में कुछ चिल्ला रहे थे. कुछ उन्होंने बात नहीं करी, बस ये बोला कि हम सेना अध्यक्ष हैं. लिया गया, बाकी दो भाग गए, एक सरदार था और एक और था, वो दोनों भाग गए, लेकिन एक जो आदमी पकड़ा अध्यक्ष हूं, और पुलिस उसको ले गई, और उसकी अब राम सेना वही संस्था है. हिंदुस्तान में अलग अलग जगह, कभी बंगलौर में, कभी कहीं और, इसी तरह की होती हैं उनके खिलाफ मारपीट किसी और मुद्दे पर इनका स्टैंड कि बिल्कुल निहत्थे लोगों के ऊपर हमला करना। ये दूसरी बात है कि ये लोग जान से नहीं मारते, लेकिन ये लोग इनकी कोशिश ये होती है कि लोगों को जिनके खिलाफ जिनके ऊपर हमला कर रहे हैं उनको डरा दें, और इनकी कुछ अपनी सोच है, पता नहीं क्या सोच है, लेकिन बिल्कुल दकियानूसी सोच है और उस सोच को अपने धौंस से
All right, I apologize there for the audio there. There seems to be a problem with that live connection to Prashant Bhushan's statement. But what he has said is he has described the attack. Actually, you can see it very visibly there, what happened while he was giving an interview to a news channel. He said that the attackers, while they were hitting him, they were kicking him, punching him, and they were shouting something about Kashmir. He said they're from the Sri Ram Sena group. We deliberately really haven't played any of their sound bites on this channel today. We believe that many of these things are often done for publicity by groups like these, so we have not played out their interviews. Let's just go back and see if we can hear Mr. Bhushan again.
मुझे फोन कर ये बोला है कि वो लोग बहुत ज्यादा इससे खफा हैं। मैं सब लोगों को कहना चाहूंगा कि हिंसा का जवाब हिंसा कभी नहीं होता और ना होना चाहिए, और इसलिए इन लोगों के ऊपर, श्री राम सेना के ऊपर किसी को कोई हिंसा नहीं करनी चाहिए, लेकिन इस संस्था का पूरी तरह से सामाजिक बहिष्कार होना चाहिए, क्योंकि इस तरह की संस्था को हिंदुस्तान में जिंदा रहने का कोई हक नहीं है। जो संस्था इस तरह से हिंसा करती है निहत्थे लोगों के ऊपर। अब मैं इंग्लिश में कह देता हूँ। टुडे at around 4 p.m. when I came back to my Supreme Court chamber, a team of Times Now had been waiting to interview me on some issue. Just when the interview was supposed to start, this group of 3 young men barged into my chamber and started assaulting me.
तो प्रशांत भूषण की बात आपने सुनी। प्रशांत भूषण बता रहे हैं किस तरह शाम 4 बजे का वक्त था, हाईकोर्ट से वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के अंदर जो उनका चेंबर है वहां पहुंचे और वहां पर 3 हमलावरों ने उन पर हमला कर दिया। 2 तो भागने में कामयाब हो गए, लेकिन एक
Prashant Bhushan repeating in English the statement he just made in Hindi, describing the attack on him today. He was also saying, you could hear him there saying that the Sri Ram Sena, the group that he says was behind this attack, should be condemned. That violence should not be answered with violence, and he's basically spoken about what we're talking about as well, this increasing intolerance. We have Renuka Chaudhary of the Congress with us as well today, and obviously this you've had your own issues with Team Anna and with Prashant Bhushan over the last few months, but something like this is just absolutely appalling. What does it tell you about what kind of people we've become?
Well, Nidhi, that's for us as a nation to introspect. How sad that we are Gandhi's land and we talk of militant non-violence, which is not understood. Militancy is permitted where you will stand for what you believe in. But violence is really not the answer. But on the other hand, there are lessons to be learnt from this. If you arouse a hope, if people believed that yes, this was a movement, and then they've gone into politics, then the anger comes.
But this has nothing to do with that.
It's not connected with that at all.
I don't know what the history behind why the attackers attacked.
Apparently some remarks he made on Kashmir,
yeah,
but
this is unrelated to.
It becomes intolerance. Anything
politics
is intolerance, which is not really the way forward.
Let me just get a reaction from the BJP spokesperson, Mr. Prakash Javadekar. Mr. Javadekar, I'm sure that the BJP also doesn't agree with the methods that have been adopted here today. As a society, what Mr. Prashant Bhushan said is that he believes there should be a referendum in Jammu and Kashmir to decide on its future. Are we so intolerant today that, as a society that, we may not agree with what he says, but, does anyone deserve to be treated like this for having a different point of view?
That is the beauty of democracy, that everybody will have the views unless he speaks within the constitutional limits and doesn't challenge the sovereignty. Otherwise it is taken as a unlawful thing. But till that moment it is a legal right, and what has happened today, this type of attack is a cowardly attack, and we have condemned this because this is not done. This is never, it is not tenable also, and we condemn this attack, and we are happy that no major injuries was inflicted and he is now well, but still this attack is an attack on the freedom of speech. Somebody may agree, or many people may not be agree with what Prashant Bhushan is saying on Kashmir, but that's a different issue and you can debate it.
Okay, Mr. Javadekar, I'll just come back to you because we've just got the line to Mr. Bhushan back. I'll just come back to you, Mr. Javadekar. Let's go back and try and listen to what Mr. Prashant Bhushan is saying.
14 languages.
जरूरत नहीं है, जब कभी आराम से इन मुद्दों की बात होगी तब मैं
इन मामलों को लेकर कोर्ट में कोई एप्लीकेशन यूज करेंगे?
You can't say it has nothing to do with
Prashant
this.
Bhushan has just finished making his statement there at his residence. As I was mentioning, he was actually supposed to be a guest on our show today. We are going to be talking about this whole issue of the Lokpal as a constitutional authority. We also have former Cabinet Secretary Mr. T.S.R. Subramaniam here today. Your thoughts on this today?
Nidhi, this is a very shocking incident. I am afraid that this is sort of signs of the times. We are now seeing increasing road rage. We are seeing many more such incidents which are not being reported. I think it's a combination of a large number of factors. I think there's a lot of frustration around, number one. Intolerance is growing. There is also not sufficient condemnation and punishment. What is disturbing to me is the brazen way it was done. In the middle of a television interview, people barging into the office.
In the Supreme Court premises.
In the Supreme Court premises. This shows utter contempt to the system. This is number one. I would not certainly agree with any political angle given to this. You may have any political view. That's a different question.
Yes.
And even if a person speaks sedition or unconstitutional things, it is nobody's right to take revenge. It is for the court. It is for the court to come in and step in.
Absolutely.
Lastly, only yesterday or day before, we had this man Rajaratnam in US, not for any direct involvement, for insider trading. He was sent to 35 years in prison yesterday. This is a very clear case to give a demonstration. We have got clear proof available, live evidence is available, camera is available. Within 10 days to send the man to 10 years or maximum possible to prison. That's a clear lesson. It's a clear signal we are giving that we will not tolerate this kind of thing.
Well, let's see.
I totally agree. I totally agree with that. But one thing is to launch an inquiry, have some kind of punishment being given to him in a speedy sort of a way, but also to understand the ideology behind this, the perverseness of this logic, that what I'm saying is right and I'm going to bash up and beat up and you better listen to me. And you can't, what kind of a skewed view or this flawed doctrine that you seem to have, and that's a problem. One has to also look at this mentality, the sickness of it.
Mr. Javadekar, you wanted to say something before I ask another question also on how the media should be covering a story like this. Mr. Javadekar.
Yeah. See, I don't know who those people are, but if somebody is saying that he is from Shriram Sena, then if it is really the Shriram Sena that has created trouble in Karnataka, and the BJP government there took very strong action, so now they cannot do any disturbance in the state. More than 35 people have been arrested for longer period and all have been booked and everything has been done. So now there is a check, and these are the people who are perverse, who fought against BJP on many of the seats. So this we absolutely condemn if they are the same organization. Whatever it is, we must condemn unequivocally, because I think this is not the way forward. You have a right to protest, you have a right to peacefully protest and differ or have a dissent, but this is not the way in democracy to go ahead. So I think everybody has condemned, and that's the right.
Why do you disagree?
No, it's not that I disagree. I say there is a larger canvas in all of this. There have been examples led where we pulled down artist Hussein's paintings. We resorted to violence because we believed that he was
hounded him out of his own country.
We also said any outsider who works in the state will be bashed up in some of our states, where there's a lot of violence which happened there. And these are young people. These are young people who have done it. And so if the youngsters are going to be given these examples, then I think we have a greater onus of responsibility on all of us, that we should be able to tell the young people that you can resolve issues, and the right way to do it is this. It's a collective responsibility of all of us, then public life, private life, as citizens and as the media, that we need to come forward and tell the youth, of course you have a right. You appreciate the passion with which they fight. It's only the young who can really come out and do that, who have the energy to do that. But it is misdirected, and the way to achieve a goal is not through beating up someone else. You can't do that.
Shazia, you know, you're a journalist yourself. Now, one of the dilemmas when something like this happens, now, how do you think now the channel, for instance, that was doing this interview has issued a statement saying that their own journalist was beaten up in this. They kept on filming because it's crucial evidence. Is this a dilemma for those of us in the media, whether to give incidents like this publicity or not? How do you resolve that
this
dilemma?
Has been a debate ever since Tiananmen Square happened, when people were reporting and showing those visuals of people just getting killed, massacred. But some footage had to be there. So this has come up many times. But I'm glad that you guys are not showing, talking about this outfit or carrying out any of the statements. And I think that's great, because these guys they do it for cheap publicity.
Yeah.
So this is great that you actually, if there could be a boycott on these people, because they do it often to be noticed.
You know, there's one thing which I had tried to do earlier as Minister for Women and Child Development. We show news with absolutely no censoring on some of the visuals, where children are witness to this. Impressionable children watch national news.
Absolutely.
Now, when you have restricted viewing in cinemas and you have restricted viewing on the computer, you have child security locks on your computers and everything, news also has to carry the responsibility to remember that you are watching young people and visuals like that.
We've taken a call that there are certain organizations that will not find space on this news channel.
I think on your point, I don't see anything objection. The whole thing is objectionable.
It's a dilemma,
but I think this particular picture, this particular scene is certainly not objectionable, number one.
It's evidence.
But I note with some, I know how much rivalry is there between the
channels.
when I want to go for the OB, they won't give me space in the other place. You have to get the OB on the road. But I'm at least happy in this case. Times Now has shared it presumably free with everybody in real time.
I don't know if it's free or not, but
I hope this will continue.
Given them the credit, they were there, yes. No, I understand it. It is absolutely condemnable what has happened, and I'll have to leave it at that. We're hoping that we do hear from Mr. Bhushan a little later in this hour as well. We'll take a quick break, but when we come back, we look at our main debate tonight. We're really looking at the impact of the government's announcement that the Lokpal will be made into a constitutional authority. Has that been the government's trump card? Why is Team Anna still skeptical?